So guys, I'm gonna make this quick, which is why I'm doing this on my computer instead of a camera. But yes, this is basically my Black Lives Matter project. I'm so excited for you guys to see this. So actually just stay and watch this. But intro very quickly. I've been planning this for like the last 2 months, and it's something that's really close to my heart as a Black female creative to actually produce. We shot this over 2 days with 3 different groups of people. And thank you to everybody who was involved. Honestly, it made this project amazing. And the fact that literally only 2 people knew each other, which it was like, wow, this was still so fluid and natural, even though people had just met that day, which was amazing. And thank you to everyone who came, like I said. Thank you to everyone who helped behind the scenes, because it was stressful. It was. Honestly, this is probably going to be one of my most favourite projects I've ever done, and the most favourite that I'll ever do, because of what it's about and the history behind it, and like the age we're living in right now, where there's changes coming. And honestly, I hope all of you guys enjoy this. I hope you learn from this. I hope you relate to this if you're a Black individual living in this world, and I hope that this inspires you to do something about what we face as Black people in this world, the injustice that we face. Without keeping you guys too long, I hope you enjoyed the project, and enjoy.
My name is Leah and I'm from East London.
My name is Aisha and I'm also from East London.
My name is Bilal, I'm from Northwest London, and I am from Cameroon.
My name is Jasmine, I'm also from Northwest London, and I'm Black, white and Asian.
My name is Pamela, I'm from Peckham and I'm Ghanaian.
My name's Salim, I'm from South East London and I'm Eritrean.
My name is Jessica and I'm from Nigeria and London.
My name's Famasa and I'm from Gambia, Sierra Leone, Guinea and London.
My name is James, I'm Ghanaian and I'm from South London.
I first heard about it ages ago when it's actually started, maybe 2016, because in 2016 I was all about Tumblr. And for people that don't know about Tumblr, it's a very political place, and you learn a lot of things. Most of the things that I've learned about LGBT rights, Black Lives Matter, all of that I learned from Tumblr. All of the political correctness I have is from Tumblr. So I did know about it when it was all just starting out.
I personally first heard about it actually in my school, but I didn't know that it was an entire movement.
Personally, I've heard about Black Lives Matter movement over the years, but only recently is when everyone started to take it seriously because of George Floyd, and also because everyone's in quarantine. The news is just everything we hear now. It's all that surrounds us, and so if we chose to ignore that this is a serious problem, it just wouldn't make any sense. And so everyone only this time around started to take it seriously because everyone felt in a way accountable in their own different ways. Either they weren't listening or they just chose to not educate themselves or each other.
And also with the pandemic and quarantine, I think that the killing of George Floyd and other examples of police brutality, combined with the fact that with the coronavirus it disproportionately affects minorities, that together people kind of had to stop and look at our societies and think, what's happening, how are other people in power treating us, and what can we do about it to fix it.
Even talking about the coronavirus, I feel some people have only now started to educate themselves as well, because especially with
they've been given the opportunity.
Yeah, especially
to read about it, talk about it even.
Exactly. I feel people have been able to compare their own losses as a result of coronavirus, something they can't even control.
I think justice and I think of police brutality, but it shouldn't just be limited to that. It's about Black people's lives in general mattering, not just when people die.
Yeah, I think it also means our futures mattering, or our jobs mattering, more Black businesses, us just being finally appreciated as people as well.
When I think of Black Lives Matter, not only police brutality, but even in classrooms and the way sometimes I think Black people are treated by teachers. I feel especially in mixed schools,
teachers already have an assumption of maybe a group of black boys or a group of black girls, and I feel like they're letting our skin colour speak for our personality.
I feel like if you asked me 2 months ago, I wouldn't necessarily like the phrase Black Lives Matter, because the movement itself has had a lot of issues. Like there was, I think one time in maybe like 2018, there was a point where a group of people went to like Gatwick Airport and just decided to start protesting near the where the planes were trying to take off. And like it caused a lot of like issues with a lot of people's flights and stuff like that. And it was like, why would I see your vision? Like I see that you're trying to make a stance, but you're kind of giving us a bad rep. And there are a lot of people, I think we did talk about this before, like there are a lot of like black supremacists. Like they are actually,
yeah, there are.
They're real. Like there are people that just think that black people are superior, and everybody else should just be peasants.
I feel like it kind of has made other like, I guess, ethnicities or just like different groups of people kind of like reflect on what they're doing and what they're not doing as well. Like Black Lives Matter isn't just about only Black Lives Matter or only those white people are racist, only this, that. It's not about saying one thing is another. It's about just like making people acknowledge the fact that people are dying. We can't just ignore it, and so we all need to take responsibility for what we or our families are doing and make a change. It's about change. Black Lives Matter is about change. When I hear it, I kind of feel pain, but in a way that's kind of what connects me to it, because I feel this pain, but I know that I don't want to feel it anymore. I don't want to have to think about my cousin going out on the street and being attacked or something. Like, it's just, I don't, just because of the colour of his skin, like it just makes me feel a bit of like discomfort, but at the same time, hope, because everyone's taking it seriously. It's a big movement, and so yeah.
Adding on to that, it also makes me think of the injustices that have happened in the past, but also the justice that needs to happen and the justice that hopefully we'll be getting in the future. And you know, at the moment, that is justice for George Floyd and for Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and all of these people. So it's kind of like you said, like hope looking forward that, you know, one day there will be change and we won't have to be saying things like Black Lives Matter, because everyone will acknowledge the fact that everyone is equal.
I think it's different mainly because of social media. Like I think in the past movements, not a lot of young people have been involved, but I think because of platforms like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, there was even a video of like a young Caucasian lady arguing with her parents about police brutality of black people, and I think this is something that has never been seen or done before, because I think in the past a lot of parents have sort of told their children, nah, you don't need to think about that, don't worry about it, or maybe don't talk about it before someone hears you and then, you know, something could happen. But I think right now, because we all have phones and social media, a lot of young people, even people as young as 5, are getting involved in protests and really becoming educated.
Yeah, I think it also has to do with the fact that we were all in quarantine when it happened. So we all had like free time and we all saw the video. And I think for the first time it like actually hit us. But like when I saw the other videos of other black people who had died previously, it always hit me. But like George Floyd, I think it was because he was literally begging for his life. And everyone saw it and everyone was posting it. I think that's what made people be more aware that, you know, this is actually a problem.
I also think that now it's not just black people who are saying, you know, we matter too and fighting for change, like how in the civil rights movement most of the people that were fighting were black, and even in 2014 with Black Lives Matter it was mainly, you know, only really black people, but now I see people from all different cultures and races and backgrounds standing up for Black Lives Matter and wanting equality, and I think that's really important too, because the more people behind the movement the better, in my opinion.
I feel like social media has completely shifted the whole momentum of this movement, because everyone's reposting it and there was a time where you wouldn't open Instagram and not see at least 5 Instagram stories by one person just being reposted. So that being said, I think this is different because people have a lot more heated opinions about this, and people are actively willing to, you know, go against people who aren't anti-racist. You know, it isn't enough just to be like, oh, okay, I'm not racist. You have to be for the Black Lives Matter movement. And, you know, I appreciate how everyone's really trying to go for it, and like, you know, yeah.
I also feel like this is important because people are finally acknowledging the harm that like things like microaggressions have on the way we live our lives. Like simply just going into a shop and then a white person looking at you a certain way, or the security guard even following you around the shop. Those are microaggressions.
Yeah.
And so we're realizing that it's not okay. Just because no one's verbally said anything to us, it doesn't mean that we're not feeling any pain or discomfort. Like, we know that it's related to our race and the colour of our skin, just our appearances, which basically mean nothing. Like, it shouldn't mean anything. The colour of my skin shouldn't determine whether or not a policeman will come and like attack me or arrest me for allegedly doing something that I didn't do. Like, it's just, we're all sitting down and realising that.
But I think that's another thing. The reason like so many people are into it this time is that we were forced to just be inside, and all we have nothing to do but watch that. And then we come out to like protest for that.
People like, it sounds bad, but I feel like people feel pressure to, and which they should kind of like to share the message and spread it. And it became kind of a trend, like we say, whether or not that's a good thing, again, at least it's getting the word out there. So yeah, like she said, we were all in quarantine, we had nothing else to do, there was no excuse. It was all out there, so you had no choice but to spread it. And people putting it in their bios, they made links and stuff like that, so like you can actually make a change.
Yeah, I think he said it all as well, like people were posting it, and with people like feeling that it was a trend, I think that was bad. I think we now see that it was a trend because no one's really posting about it anymore, no one really cares anymore. Like, I don't know.
You got what you mean? Like in terms of like performative activism.
Yeah. It's definitely, like we said, it's definitely been able to like go more viral, especially now as of late. But I feel like at the same time, it's like, it's easier for people to connect on social media as well. Although it's easier for people to argue on social media as well, I feel it's easier for people to connect through like the same like issues. I even got the Black Lives Matter group chat, like stuff like that. It's easier for people to connect, and like I guess different kinds of black people are able to like come together, like maybe organize protests and stuff like that. Sometimes you've never even met the person before, and it's just like a lot easier to connect in general, because I feel like if social media didn't exist, like period, then it would be a lot harder to like support causes.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it helps that we've made it a global thing, like literally international. Definitely. Like when George Floyd passed away, like literally the whole world.
Everyone was feeling it.
Yeah, the whole world was mourning. Yeah. Like it was massive. I don't know why. Like it was specifically him. Like, but yeah, it just.
One thing I have noticed though is like, it is like most of the time it is black men who get like gunned down and arrested. But then the thing is, I'm not gonna lie, when the same thing happens to black women, so like someone like Breonna Taylor, I feel like the hype starts to die down. I don't really know why.
There was one woman, Sandra Bland.
Sandra Bland was one who like she was.
I feel like that was the only woman.
When she went to that sleepover with white people.
This one was
she got arrested, and then the police killed her, and then they.
And then literally her mugshot is her dead body. That was a really prolific one, but I feel like apart from that, there's so much stuff that does happen to black women, and I feel like the hype just dies down.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like people expect it. I don't know why, but they expect it to happen more.
Most for black men, it's black women that are the ones like.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They expect black women to always like be there for black men, and that is the case. But then the thing is, when it comes to black women, the only person,
black men are there.
The black men are like nowhere to be seen.
If the black men
or they're cracking jokes or something. Yeah. Like even like look what happened with Megan Thee Stallion. Like she got shot and people are making jokes, but then when Kanye West has a whole mental breakdown, then everyone's like
the black women
to support him.
Like we need to do something about it. He's sick. like where's
the support for him? Black mental health.
Yeah.
And it's like black mental health is only considered important when it comes to black men, because obviously black men are there for each other. When it comes to black women
are supposed to stay strong at all
black
times.
women are meant to be the strong ones. So when there's a possibility that we're vulnerable, then people don't care.
We should aware that social media's taught us about different types of racism as well, because obviously I knew about institutional and systematic racism, but I was never really educated on it. Even though I learned about this in GCSE, I was never really told how it affects black people. So yeah, I said this before, but this whole movement gives a different angle towards racism, and like it gives a different perspective on it. And especially if you're not black and you don't know, I like the way how social media propels the what's the word for it? Not like the experiences of black people and how they suffer. Especially George Floyd is very, very vivid, and it really explained what he went through, and Breonna Taylor as well. And yeah.
I feel like social media has done much more than the news in general. Like it's broadcasted all the issues. What's it called? They've got videos showing everything. Like even when the news were to show the issues going on, they never actually they filter it, or they'll try and, I don't know, maybe
twist the narrative.
Yeah, definitely. Even newspapers do the same exact thing, but like what's it called? Like social media shows it clearly, and people can actually clearly learn from that.
It's just what frustrates me about that is the fact that the police and stuff, for example, when the major like protests were going on straight like after George Floyd died, was murdered. The people that were starting the riots, the big riots, the really violent ones, were the police, and the media didn't want to tell anyone that.
They brought out the army.
They had. This is literally what you were saying. Social media. If it wasn't for social media, you wouldn't have seen the videos of the policemen breaking into rooms and not looting, but just breaking into like like shops and stuff. It's just social media is our only. It's kind of frustrating because it can be fake. There can be fake news, but it's our only way to see the real truth and see what's actually happening with like evidence right in front of us. Yet people still want to try and justify things or act like it's not happening.
I feel like it's directed my friends, if it makes sense. Like I feel like if I can't have discussions with my friends about these type of issues, I feel like our relationships aren't as close.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Like
in my household, my father and I always speak about these type of issues. So it wasn't something different to me. Like when I saw the Ahmaud Arbery video, I was just like already triggered. And then for me, the George Floyd video also came out, and then hearing about Breonna Taylor. But for me, I think one way it's affected my life is realizing that I will always, no matter how much I speak about it, will always be seen as the angry black girl. And people will always put me in this category that I'm angry when I'm actually just passionate about something. And I feel like people always, they don't take it as seriously. Like the interactions, I haven't interacted with anyone that's not
seeing eye to eye.
Yeah, like I've not had unpleasant interactions about race, thankfully, because I think I disassociate myself before I become too angry and triggered.
Yeah, I think for me, it's made me have conversations with people that I never knew I needed to have.
Yeah.
Like just even with fellow black people, just talking about our experiences. Like I never thought that was necessary, but now like it's showing me that it is.
For me, it made me realise like how much I actually love being black. Like I genuinely love being black. Like I love myself. I actually genuinely started appreciating my features, started appreciating everything about myself, getting to know myself, getting to know my parents' culture even more, like trying to educate myself about like African history and stuff like that. Because it's like I genuinely didn't know that much until I saw why certain people would try and hate on like black people. Like, well, why do you have to hate on them? Like, can't you see what I love about myself? Can't you try and learn and understand like me? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, why can't you try and learn and understand why I may love myself?
I mean, for me, this whole movement has allowed me to heavily educate myself and know how to deal with ignorant people and racist people, and I'm glad because I wasn't always able to do that. In the past, I would never really be educated enough to know how to, reply to questions such as, oh, how come you can say the N-word but we can't? Oh, how come, what makes you in a state of oppression and what makes me any different to you? Like, I didn't really know how to properly tackle those questions because for a lot of people it's blacks versus the world, but it should be like the world versus racism. And that's how I'm trying to get them to understand, and yeah, that's what this movement has allowed me to do.
Yeah, for me, this movement has allowed me to be a lot more confident expressing my beliefs and my support towards Black Lives Matter, because even though before it gained so much momentum in the past few months, I was like really vocal about it, and like people close to me know that I'm very passionate about social justice and like Black Lives Matter, and all things like that. I was a bit like insecure with speaking up about this because like I'm not fully black, and in some instances I am white passing, but I took the time to reflect on like myself and my privileges, but then also the discrimination I faced for being mixed, and how sometimes I've been stopped by police myself when I'm with like my white friends, and I think it's interesting that police can single out like one mixed person in a group of white people, but so it's allowed me to feel more confident knowing that there's so many people who support each other and support this movement, and that it's okay as well for me to put my foot forward and speak my mind, because it feels like at the moment the whole world is backing Black Lives Matter, which is amazing to see.
It's just kind of, I feel like when I said earlier something about pain, it just reminds me of the fact that I can't really do certain things freely just because like literally there's no other explanation but just because. Like, for example, it just reminds me of like personal experiences and stuff. Like, for example, last May, me and my family, we went to America to visit because there was like a party or something, someone's birthday, my uncle's birthday, someone. But it's like, we were supposed to go to New York, but the main reason we didn't go was just because around the time were some other protests related to like Black Lives Matter, and I didn't feel comfortable, and it's the fact that I literally had to just cry about it because I didn't feel comfortable with my dad just driving around in America. They don't care that he's from the United States, from the UK. All they see is a colour. They see nothing else but the colour of his skin, and it genuinely just depressed me. And even thinking about my family there, like, I don't feel comfortable.
I want to see a change to the system because it's actually engraved in the system. The whole police system is built upon racism. So all these people saying justice for George Floyd, justice for Breonna Taylor, that's good, yeah? These are individual cases though. Like, I feel like sometimes the court system, they might say, okay, let's just arrest the killers of them and then we'll shut them up for a bit. But at the end of the day, there's still a million other cases going on every single day that we don't know about, that are not caught on camera, that aren't getting the same coverage that George Floyd happened to get just because it was recorded. So I feel like the whole judicial system and the whole police system actually needs to change, because otherwise it's just going to be the same thing happening over and over again.
I think you said it all. But I mean, just like general systemic racism and like the way the systems work literally against people of colour, specifically black people, I would want to see that change, but I don't think that would change. Mainly because, like, you see how, for example, what they're doing now, like, for example, look at what's going on with Breonna Taylor. Like, all black people are saying is like, arrest the police that killed her, but people would rather paint murals and like dedicate songs to her, or like make TV shows about her, trying to make it seem like it's accepting. Yeah. Like, the thing is, no matter how many people in everyday society, I guess, accept racism, accept that racism is bad. Exactly, that's performative. But then the thing is, no matter how performative or like just like generally not racist society becomes, systemic racism will always be there. So like they will never actually arrest the police, but they'll do little things to keep black people happy, or like even take out like non-black people who play black roles on like voice actors and stuff like that. Like you see little things like that, they'll do that to prove that they're not racist or that it's getting better when in reality it's not. Like even look at since Martin Luther King's time, all that's really happened is like schools have become integrated and like just little things. It's more like the obvious stuff, but I'm talking like actual systemic stuff that'll probably never change.
I think the exact opposite. I feel like systemic racism will change, but the little like...
The main thing is I feel like it can't.
Hey, let me speak. Yes. Personal racism, like Uncle Joe in the back of what's the Uncle Tim or Uncle Tom or... Yeah, Uncle Tom. Like that, they will always be racist in their head. Like racism will not die, but black people will fight hard enough to make systemic racism not a thing anymore. Like when you were talking about poverty, like I do believe that there will always have to be a lower and upper, but I feel like that's more to do with class. Like
yeah, but that's still like, systemic. Like you see what I'm saying?
But it's
like
not,
it physically can't change, but I would want it to change. But I know it can never change.
But that is not necessary. Like obviously, black people are a part of that. But when it comes to the systems involved for that, it's more. I feel like it's more of a class thing because there are poor people. There are poor. Because we literally live in. Are we allowed to say where we live? Hi stalkers. We live in Tower Hamlets, which is one of the poorest boroughs in London, and it's full of Asian people. Yeah. So it's not always about black people. Sometimes,
yeah, no, but that's what I meant. That's why I said like people of colour in general, but specifically black people as well. And it's like in different, and not just even in the UK. I'm talking like all around the world. Like people of colour. It's like white people, like back in the day before like too many like people of colour came. Well, not too many, but like you know what I mean. Like basically it was like back when it was just white people. Like it was just like not just white people. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you had the mainly poor white communities, and back when it was just purely about class, then you had the really poor white communities. But then the moment like different people from like different countries, specifically people of different races, started coming, like those people didn't necessarily want to associate with other people, people of colour. And then the thing is, they see them as less than different kinds of racism. I feel like systemic
I'm saying systemic racism will eventually vanish, but general racism will never leave. That's my point. I'm saying that black people will find a way to create, because we have integrated ourselves and we have seen change. So that change will continue. Probably not in our lifetime we will see it completely gone, and it will take a very, very long time, because as you said, it's from back in the day,
that's why I personally feel like those things are so entangled, like race is entangled into our society today. Like even look at the police.
They will untangle
like look at the police. Like we are our like grandparents and great grandparents like wildest dreams, and like racist
and the future generations will be our wildest dreams as well.
I feel like it will consistently get better, but I feel like it's very exponential in the sense that like it will never completely go away.
I just feel like systemic racism will end before general racism will, because I don't think racism will.
Because like even look, like there's not enough like black people in
man. You're talking too much. Racism in itself is judgment. Like humans naturally judge people, even before you think about it. It's a subconscious thing, and stereotypes are alive. Stereotypes have always been alive, so it is kind of natural to have some sort of racist views. Like it's natural for everybody to be racist to some extent because of just natural judgment. So that general racism will never go away. But as we were talking about before, like systemic racism has been untangled and will continue to untangle.
I don't think it's been entangled at all.
I think
in
so.
my opinion.
I think so. Compare like England in the 1980s to now is literally.
It's improved. That's what I'm saying. It's improved.
Yeah, that is. But that's because that is entanglement.
But I feel like that's not necessarily. That's more overt. It's become less overt. That's the only thing I think. Like it's just become less overt. And then when Trump like started running, all of the racists came back out to play. Like, see what I'm saying?
No,
I feel like they're just better at hiding it. I don't think it's necessarily improving.
No, I think it's improving. Okay, we'll agree to disagree.
I want to feel free. That's what I want. I just want us to feel like you don't have to think about the colour of our skin or even think about the texture of my hair or why I'm different to someone else or why. I don't want to have to think about the things that make me different or the things that might make someone have to like single me out or just simply just like discriminate towards me. I just want us to feel like we can live in this world without having to think about such fickle things. Like it shouldn't matter, but it does right now. But I do believe that eventually we'll reach some sort of like happiness. I don't know, you know.
I want all of these deaths, like all these deaths to just stop. Like there's no need for it. Like there's literally no need for it.
I want police officers to be held accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't at the moment, and I think the whole police and criminal justice, you know, groups. Oh no, wait, hold on, let me rephrase it. I think the criminal justice system and the police system needs to be reformed from the bottom all the way up to the top.
Really quick. And I wish to see some sort of change in the law so that the police can't be hiding behind all these sorts of like reforms and whatever. You've done something wrong. You need to be held accountable. You need to go to jail for life because you can't take someone else's life and then go back to work or be promoted or something or get a raise. It makes no sense.
Living your best life.
That's something that needs to be changed.
Like a whole million was raised for George Floyd's killers just to protect him. $1 million, like it don't make sense.
I wish to see more black people in high positions of power.
Yeah.
Me personally, I've never seen it as a trend, and I will always have these conversations with anyone who's open to having them. So Black Lives Matter for me has never been a trend. It's been a lifestyle, but it is like with me, I feel like you can see it more in on like real life interactions rather than my social media. When obviously everything was happening, I was quite active with trying to educate people online. Because obviously quarantine doesn't allow people to do it face to face, but whenever I can educate people, I will. So I feel like I've kind of been, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I haven't been making it a trend from the beginning. I've made it a lifestyle. Like even my mom, I'll be teaching her stuff like all of the time.
I think personally, like I'm doing similar but on social media. Like I always post like stuff on my stories and just about like educating people. And the thing is, again, I'm always discovering things myself. Like even I just recently learned that people, so like even going back to slavery, people think slavery was so long ago when in reality when slavery ended in the UK, apparently basically people who owned slaves,
2015,
who no longer own slaves, they were basically still being paid compensation up until 2015, including their families and everyone that came after them. So basically there are people still benefiting from slavery to this, I guess, quote unquote day, but not really this day because you know it's been 5 years. But it's like people just think that it was so long ago, or that it's just like one thing that happens and like, oh no, police brutality, and they just think it's one thing that gets sorted out. And especially there needs to be more correct representation in the media to ensure that as well, because I feel like there has been representation for a while, but even then back in the day there used to be these things called black films, like they were literally called black films, where you have like black cops just like acting very stereotypical, and then just like people would like make their own like I guess assumptions about black people from that. And even more nowadays on Netflix, the black girl is always like a caramel, like coloured, like I guess like
Netflix now is known for having over-representation of everybody. It's literally become a joke.
No, literally, have you seen
of all the light skinned people?
The amount of times, I'm talking like the big shows and like movies that Netflix promote, where they'll have like possibly a white like main character, they always have like a light-skinned friend or a light-skinned girlfriend, and the thing is that's always the substitute for black lives. Like even look how Zendaya's being cast in every movie, rightfully so. I'll say rightfully so. But then the thing is, they always get the same, like, I guess 3 or 4 actresses to play a black character. And I know even Zendaya, what she's actively doing, what I really respect her for, is the fact that she doesn't take roles from like dark skinned characters, for example, but she'll take roles for white characters to like change the director's mind. But then someone like Amanda Stenberg, like, she was in The Hate You Give, she was amazing, don't get me wrong, but then the thing is, that was meant to be a dark skin role, and you see like things like that happens all the time.
Going back to the actual point, I feel like patience is very important for change to happen. Even though like we have been patient, we've been waiting, but I feel like patience in terms of like waiting for people to become educated, because once everybody in the black community understands what we're fighting, because I don't really now care about non-black people fighting. If black people need to get together, and that's where the change will happen.
But to be the job to survive.
Yeah, like there are so many black people that are uneducated themselves, and we need to get those people back. We need to get those people back so that they understand what we're fighting for, so we can all be together. Because I feel like sometimes we look unorganized because we'll be fighting with each other, and other people will be looking at us like, haha, they can't even figure out for themselves.
But the thing is that we do have our own issues to like sort out, but then on top of that, we do have like general Black Lives Matter as well.
I do understand like it isn't necessarily the same, because we're literally dying out here, but we're also like
fighting.
It's like we need to get together. We need to be patient with each other. Understand where everyone's coming from, and then learn how to educate ourselves, because once we are all kind of on similar pages, we can't all be on the same page, we're literally one race in the whole world, but once we're on similar wavelengths, we can move forward more effectively, I feel.
Well, going back to my point, it's like the fact that you have a lot of black people who like don't like other marginalized groups, it just shows that they don't want equality, they want privilege. And it's just like, especially when I hear like black people, like say like a black everyday black trans women are getting killed, like they're dying at an alarming rate. Like, see how we all have like a lifespan of like what, 80? Their lifespan is literally 35. Like, that's scary. 1 in 7 of them are murdered. Like, that is alarming.
And you're okay with that, you just sit home.
Exactly, you sit home, just because you don't agree with their lifestyle. Like, the amount of people that think that about black people and choose that, like, to not like support. You're doing the exact same thing. But then you think because you suffer repression that it's okay to then oppress other people or allow other people to be oppressed. Like, I'm sorry, but that's dumb. That's absolutely dumb.
I think for me, to make sure it's not a trend, I'm going to continue to educate myself on this whole movement and even racism as a whole, because a lot of people have various perspectives on it. So I think what I can do for myself is actually, get some books, educate myself, so that not even talking about the races, but because I think a lot of other black people are quite ignorant to a lot of topics as well, and they'll just say something that they heard, or not something that they don't actually know if it's true or not, but they'll still say it just because of their lack of knowledge. So I want to educate myself so that I know that when I speak to other people, I can be like, no, actually, statistically speaking, and da 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 da. So, definitely.
I feel like no matter how tiring or repetitive it may sound, you need to keep it going, because like this, how this is feeling to you right now, this exact same thing happened in 2014. It's happened time and time again, and then it'll just fizzle out. I do feel like this time it's a little bit stronger, partially because we're all in quarantine and stuff, but I feel like it just needs to keep going. And before, I used to be like, what is a retweet gonna do? What is just me posting it? But like, as long as the conversation is happening, eventually, like, they can't just ignore it forever. So I feel like we just need to keep speaking about it. And like, if maybe you don't have the funds to donate or something, and we may feel like we're powerless, I can't change the system. The least you could do is actually keep talking about it and make it an issue that needs to be addressed.
Teaching those around me and having uncomfortable conversations, because it just needs to happen. And constantly keeping that cycle of educating those around me. Even if they don't want to listen, I'm still going to have to say it.
No, go on.
Right. I feel like what we can all do is like promote, I said this before, but keep promoting schemes and programs that help young black people get to better places in life.
I plan to support black businesses, like any that I find that can help me in any way. So
just continuing to use our voices, speak up, like you said, have the uncomfortable conversations, and we need to, you know, inspire each other and the younger generation and the older generation, because in some ways we do inspire the older generation. We're doing things that they, you know, weren't doing at our age, to, you know, take up space, you know, represent us in places where there's not a lot of people of colour and black people especially. We need to stop whitewashing the curriculum. Because we need to learn about other people's histories. We need to learn about the things that Britain did in other countries. We need to learn about, you know, the migration that's happened here. And when people say, oh, if you don't like it here, then go home. You know?
Trust
Check this out.
Trust me. Like, we helped you build this home.
Exactly.
So anyways, no one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
I also feel like we need to sit down and realize that all of these isms that we're fighting for, feminism, like equality, okay, it's not an ism, but like equality among like, you know, like sexual orientations and even just like sexualities, like all these different things, ageism, I forgot about that, religion, but like, like all of these different things link. All we want to do, everything like that we each want to do is just be our own individual selves and not feel like it's not allowed. If someone wants to be bisexual, they should be allowed to be bisexual. If someone wants to be transgender, they should be allowed to be transgender. But like related to this conversation, if someone is just black and they want to live their life, they should be allowed to live their life without being discriminated against or just anything. I mean, this project itself is us at least making an effort to make sure that it doesn't stop this whole movement.
So guys, so you saw everything, so I really hope you enjoyed it. It was honestly such an amazing experience, as you know, me behind the lens, seeing everybody and like seeing their points of view and all of that. It was amazing. I hope you guys enjoy it and learn from that. If you want to flip in Chile, if you want to see the pictures are going to be on my Instagram, and the Instagram as usual is at Visualissa. Yeah, all the pictures are going to be on there. I'm going to be posting them slowly but surely, but the pictures as well, I like them a lot. I'm also going to be posting a behind the scenes of this shoot and the project, so if you want to see that, subscribe. I'm going to post that very soon, and I also have a lot of content coming up for you guys, and just generally what I'm doing as a creative, I guess, a young creative. So I hope you guys stay tuned for all of that. Yeah, as I said, I hope you enjoyed the interview. I hope it inspired you and helped you think outside the box, I guess. Yeah, there's nothing really more I can say. Thank you everyone who participated again. Can't even speak because I'm excited, because I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, yeah, have an amazing day, and I will see you guys next time.